Hello and welcome. And we are going to kick off our series on hitting. And, when I started to put this together, rather than having multiple voices on the topic of hitting, I really wanted to go to someone that I believe in, that I follow, that I have read and I listen to intently. Because I really believe we as a group of parents need to have resources that we can trust over and over again. And today's guest, Trey Hannam, he works with some big leaguers, but really high level draft picks, elite college, elite professional hitters. And oh, by the way, he's really good with the younger age groups, teaching the basics. So, first and foremost, Trey, thank you for taking the time to join me today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the trust, and I appreciate the kind words.
You know,
I'm excited for this one.
the big thing is I think you are going to become the go-to resource with regard to all things hitting because of how you disseminate and teach, which I think is critical when you're teaching such a difficult task within sports, which is hitting a baseball. So let's just start with, if we're an athlete and we're in like that 10 to 16-year-old, like what I call that middle school to high school ranges, what are some of the first fundamental foundational skill sets that young hitters are going to need in order to build and become better hitter as they grow up?
Absolutely. So there's a lot to this, right? The thing that's really hard about my job is everything depends. Everything depends on what they need. They might already be big and strong, therefore I don't need to tell them to swing fast. They might already have really good swing decisions, therefore I don't really need to work on that. That's what's really hard about my job. I adjust everything. I have my beliefs, I have my whatever I kind of teach. Everything depends on the hitter. That's what's really tough. So I had a tweet about a year ago that went viral, and I really believe it, and I really trust it. I have a son and a daughter now. They're 3 and one ish. And I said the number one thing I'm going to teach my son going up is self belief. You can have all the connection you want, you can have all the bat speed you want, you can have everything, but if you don't have self belief, you don't have the conviction behind what you're actually doing. It's not going to be as good as we always hoped or think that it could be.
I
So
love
that's what
that.
self belief.
I absolutely love that. And so, we hear parents are always seeking hitting through lessons, hitting through practices with coaches. But one of the things, can you offer any kind of simple drills that both coaches, youth coaches, and maybe parents can do in the backyard? Drill work that's simple that you don't have to pay money for and you don't have to travel hundreds of miles. What are some simple, basic drills that both parents and young coaches can do with younger hitters?
Absolutely. So I just actually released a youth hitting video, like the 3 top drills that I would do on my YouTube channel, which is awesome. I love it. This is very simple. What I would probably do is I love self toss, particularly with the bottom hand, so the top hand can get loaded. I love self toss. Manny Ramirez talks about how that really ingrained in his development as well. So self toss, I love hitting basketballs or soccer balls or volleyballs to get them really strong to and through contact. I love that. You can actually do self toss with basketball or volleyball. You can drop on the floor, let it bounce, whatever. I love that. The next thing is I watch a lot of youth videos, and it's very slow. It's kind of coming on an arc, even in high school a little bit, unless you're facing 85 plus. It's very slow. So every single hitter, especially youth, when they don't have a lot of muscles yet, they want to go out and get it and they want to drop their hands, right? So the thing that I would teach a lot of young players, almost all of them, is when that ball comes in slow, don't be slow and go out and get it. Try to stay loaded as long as you can, long as you can, long as you can, and almost surprise everyone by how late and fast you swing. Obviously, we still want to be on time, but we want it to almost make it look like we're going to take it, boom, and swing at the very last second. That's going to help the player stay loaded as long as they can instead of get weak and drop.
See, I love those, and I've listened to Mary, and I actually have had video after video of just get a broomstick, tape it up, and then go hit rocks, self
Yeah,
toss, small golf ball, plastic golf balls. So I absolutely 1000% agree with the self toss. When you are working with younger hitters, what are some of the uh, body mechanics that you see that need to be corrected? Is it stance? Is it weight transfer? What are some of those things that they can kind of begin to tweak that it's a simple fix as opposed to anything complex.
Definitely, absolutely. So a lot of times making sure they stay loaded, making sure they get loaded, make sure they stay loaded, and make sure they swing from that strong position. I teach a lot of youth. I'll teach from, especially like remotely, I'll do a lot of like 9 to 14, but in person, I do a lot more like 14 and older. But I'll have some youth players come in, and I swear the parents are like, man, is this guy teaching them anything? Because I give them what we're trying to do, then I let them go figure it out and how to do it. And the parents like, oh, why doesn't he say something? Why doesn't he say something? It's like, hey, give him 5 reps without saying something. Let's see if he can figure it out on his own. I gave him what to do. Now let's go make sure that they can do it. And easily, just like I said a couple minutes ago, it's making sure they get loaded and stay loaded. They all want to drop. They all want to commit their swing early. How long can we stay loaded? How long can we stay strong? Then almost pop like a mouse trap at the very last second. That's what I see the most.
Can you talk a little bit about the importance of a good base with regard to hitting? We see everybody kind of has that creative, what I call pre-pitch stance, but when they actually get into that foot strike of hitting, there's balance, there's power, there's athleticism, explosive rotation. Can you talk a little bit about how do you teach a young hitter to be balanced and athletic in their stance?
Definitely. So this isn't public, but I can say it. Nolan will be okay with it. I train Nolan Arenado. He's famous for that step back. A couple years ago, maybe 5 years ago, he started doing that with the Rockies. What that step back is he does a little bit of happy feet. Then as the ball starts approaching him, he does a step back to get in his back hip and get more loaded. That really helped him to stop from diving. So it's a really good position to make sure we do that. Okay. That's really good. Make sure we swing from a good position. Then when you swing and finish, I love holding it. Okay, holding it's very important. When I start standing up, it starts to get serious. Okay, the next thing is make sure you swing from a good position, hold it. Then part number 3 is a lot of players, they want to come out of their legs, right? They want to stand up. So what I have them do is a half lunge after they swing. So when they swing, hold it, then do like a little down feeling. You'll feel your hips below. You might feel it one time where you stand up, you try to do that feeling, and you know right away you can't do that. You got to be able to keep those hips low. That'll keep you in the ground. So strong, rotate, stay in the ground. It's one of the best things you could ever do for a young hitter. A lot of other things will follow correctly.
So I'm going to do a follow-up question that I wasn't anticipating, but I really want to get your thoughts on this. We see a lot of social media people that talk about 1 foot off the ground or in the air. Can you talk about the significance of the ground as it plays with regard to your power source? Like that is your energy source. So if you disconnect from the ground, you're really weakening yourself. And then secondly, you talk a little bit about hand separation. Like do you teach, I see a lot of young hitters now that kind of disengage one-handedly. They're just swinging it with their bottom hand. Can you talk a little bit about the ground as a power source, and 2, where does separation occur after contact?
Okay, so here's what I have. I think this is very important. A lot of young players, just like I said earlier in this video, in the show, is they want to leak, they want to get out front. Okay, they really want to get on that front foot. This sounds a little out there. You can't get on the front foot if you don't put the front foot down. Okay? Even if you do, try to keep it very, very, very light, almost like you're dipping your toe in water. I have a lot of videos about that. So I like trying to keep it up as long as we can. Then when we get ready to swing, then it goes down, then we stay in the lower half. What I see from a lot of young players is they try to use the ground so much, they end up using the ground too early and they put themselves in a really bad position. So try to keep that foot light as you can, almost like you're doing taps like this. Swing, then get in the ground as the swing's happening, just to make sure that you're not shifting and putting yourself in a bad spot. That's where I'm at with that, and I've seen a lot of success with that. So really light, then get in the ground as the swing happens and after.
What about separation? When should that occur? Do you teach extension, and so like release of that bottom hand? The top hand. Where does separation occur?
There's a lot to this. These are really hard questions, but this is what helps players get better. A lot of the times when people are talking about separation, they're talking about like the upper half and lower half. I think what you're asking is more about like the extension and getting more through. I
Right.
think that's very important because what a lot of young players do is they want to swing across their body. I don't think they
Right.
want to, but that's just kind of what they do. So what I ask a lot of players is I show them like a roadmap from the catcher to the pitcher's hand, literally
Right.
through the pitcher's hand. We want to figure out how to swing back through that road, back through the highway as long as we can to a certain extent.
So if a family or a student athlete, you mentioned earlier about remotely that you work with athletes, I assume from all over Canada, United States. How does a family that may want to work with you remotely, how does that process begin, and how would they contact you
Yep.
to begin that process?
Absolutely. So I have a website, treyhannam.com. Very simple. A lot of my information is on there. You'll find out what kind of it is. And I made a video about kind of the whole process. It's about a 6-minute video. What I saw was everyone had questions. What do we do here? What do we do here? What happens when this happens? So I simply just made a video about it. Go watch the video and be very good. And I have a lot of testimonials on there as well about how I've helped some of the best hitters in the world.
Do you have a age requirement? Is there any type of requirements that a young athlete should have, or should parents be aware of any age requirements, level requirements? Do they have to be in little league? Like, what are your working metrics as far as the athletes that you take on from 9 to 14?
So I just ask, just make sure that they're capable. I work from probably 8 all the way up to 40, right? Just make sure. I actually had a 60-year-old from Canada playing the men's league. He said, "You wouldn't believe how cool this is. This is awesome. I just want to get a little bit better." It was pretty cool. It was a cool experience. But I just make sure that they're capable and they have the resources at home or in the facility that we can hit enough. We all know like 8 to 13, 14-year-old, they can't really communicate as well. So I ask that the parent communicates for them. I ask that the player can watch the videos and they can kind of interact with it. I even have some players make the videos and send them to me. Hey, Coach Trey, I was working on this. I felt this. Today I did this really, really well. Think about how awesome that is for them to build that development into their skills, like skill development, and to actually talking into a camera. And even in my onboarding, I have players, I call it the selfie video. They have 3 questions where they have to answer to me in their selfie video. Hey, like, what's your background? What are your goals? What are you really trying to get out of this? And I get to hear the conviction and the confidence in that video as if we're in person, or the lack thereof. And it really feels much more personal rather than just typing. And everything we do is pretty much by video like this. I record it in my video in my office or in my cage downstairs, and it's me working on certain things. And the best kind of compliment that I've gotten from parents, kind of in the background, them talking to their parents, is how awesome it is for players to learn accountability, to talk to a coach over and over and over, and how custom everything is to them. Everything's not just systemized. I just send you a random video. Everything's me and it's personal. Just like this, it's an actual video just for you, nobody else.
Well, I want to just ask you on X. I want to make sure parents and athletes understand. Trey's going to be joining me. We're going to be doing this twice a month. We'll make sure that you're going to have access to his X, his Instagram, his YouTube, all that. Also his website. All that will be listed in our description. But just give them the particulars. What is the handle on X, and what is the website, your website, that you should kind of reach out to you if they have interest in your lessons?
Definitely. My website is treyhannam.com. It's on my social media in my bio, treyhannam.com. In my Instagram bio, my YouTube is in there as well. You can also just search my name on YouTube. I have a lot of videos and I'm putting a lot of effort on my YouTube channel. Then my handles are Trey J Hannam, TREYJ Hannam 10 on Twitter and Instagram. You'll be able to find me. I never stop talking hitting as much. My wife wants to turn me off sometimes.
I know that feeling all too
Yes.
well. Well, parents, I want to let you know there's going to be a regular segment. Really, really encourage you if you have a young athlete. Now, before I go here, do you work with softball athletes? Because I've been asked that in the past.
Some of my favorite athletes are softball athletes. Yes, I just actually there's a pro softball league. I think it's called Athletes Unlimited. I just trained the hitter of the year, Erin Koffel. She's amazing.
Well, for parents that are always asking softball, baseball, this is by far and away, and trust me, I've been around the sport long time. And when I hear major leaguers and minor leaguers and college coaches talking about Trey, They never utter a negative syllable. And to me, that is the greatest accomplishment that you can have as a coach within this crazy, wild industry.
Yeah,
So,
I
Trey, I
agree.
look forward to talking with you again next week. And I hope parents will take the time, follow Trey on X, and then go ahead and take a look at that website. Thanks, Trey.
Thank you, guys.